Hey everyone, Unknown here. Normally well, it's April 1st, April Fool's Day, yeah, I'm even recording it today. Because I want to point out, for me with April Fool's Day, it will really depend if I ever even upload a video, if I'm wanting to on that day or if I'm not. April 1st is just one day with YouTube I honestly dislike. More so on the fact of, oh Lord, am I being honest? It just disappoints me on how people take things, honestly. Don't get me wrong, it can be nice if done right. Most times I see YouTubers stress out their audience, not meaning to, but it's also like they do it. And everyone's like, nope, for me, I don't want to make a fake video just for clickbaiting, just because it's April 1st, so it's a haha joke. To me, a prank or a joke is something everyone can laugh at right at that moment it's happening. Not to be so stressed out and scared that they'll lose their favorite channel. To me, no, that ain't no prank. That's not even a joke. That's really just wrong. That hurts others, especially if they don't handle stress well and all that. Okay, you want to say then they need to get better. Fine, Danny, say that if you want, but it's like, still to me, it's completely aligned with what I've seen of some YouTubers with how they care about the content, how they care about others, and then these big April Fool pranks about, hey, I'm deleting my channel and all that. No, to me, I don't care for those. To me, it's like it makes me not even want to touch any YouTube videos, always unless they're from before this day or any April Fool's Day. I'm sorry to say, it's just one of those things of like I've always hated April Fool's Day on YouTube. Find any of you making a fun little prank, or hey, if you want to make a short video like some YouTubers I've seen, where it's like, oh, it's obviously a prank video because it's not even a short, which is what YouTube's been doing, or the fact of, oh hey, I'm actually letting you guys know right away it's an April Fool's prank, which I've never seen anyone do. But to me, it's like, no, I have always hated the idea of these April Fool's Day pranks, jokes. You can call it whatever you want. I don't agree with them being any of that. It causes unneeded stress and really anything else when you think about it. Because it's like, why do that to someone? I never understood it, but neither do you. If you like them, like them. I don't really care. But as for the second part, I'm gonna have to get into a bit more detail because this isn't just gonna be a 2 3 minute long video because I don't want people to see it as a prank. No, it's honestly how I feel about these April Fool Day videos. But to go into the second part, because yes, I did want to put this out there, not as a prank or anything, but because I actually believe it. I actually feel this. It's just been festering on the surface about okay, what the ink tank did on and what what Ben can and can't handle, what the armchairs can basically scan. Nope, there's so many things I need to point out with you, which I'll put out after this first edit my facial structure and stuff. See you in a second. Okay, as I said, I'm making the second part right here. It's about basically an tank call out on one specific video entirely, and don't get me wrong, it really takes me off. So you'll see which one it is as I put up their picture for it. No, I don't want to get in trouble, but I want to show this. Okay, so give me a second, and that is correct. It's there. Well, to say the least. He's what Ben can and can't turn into. Okay, I'm happy for them with that, but so much is wrong there. It's like they want. My one gripe with this is one. Okay, I'll give them Pokemon can be debatable depending on the Pokemon itself being a shadow Pokemon or not. Honestly, if you look at Pokemon, they're as intelligent as humans, if not more. None are really even dumber than a human, at least on the sentient part. Actual intelligence, debatable. Sentience is not exactly intelligence, I say. And most things that are technically able to be scanned have to be sentient, not intelligent. Sorry, say freeze frame, you got that part wrong. Sorry, Tank, you got that wrong. Because if we're going off intelligence alone, why the heck is wild mud species able to be scanned? Why are some of the dumbest aliens out there able to be scanned, like the Scar? Like, I'm sorry to say, I know the whole plotline thing. I mean, the whole episodic nature of the first classic series, but even like Kuro was pointing out in his Ben 10 Classic Breakdowns. One, I'm sorry to say, but Bonzozo, the basically clown enemy, clown zombie, everyone call him at times, is actually more competent and more intelligent than Ziskar. And that's mainly because Von Zozo will take his chance as soon as he can. But so many want bash on certain villains like him, even Animal. Animal's definitely a lot smarter, no offense, even Scar. And Scar is supposed to be a High Lord of the Equinors. Sorry to say, I am at times debating if he's exaggerating or not. Mostly because, one, why would he be the High Lord when he's had so many chances to essentially grab Ben? I'm sorry to say, but no, he doesn't have the intelligence, and if really matter on intelligence, just being able to speak doesn't matter. Heck, if we're going off intelligence on how they can speak, if they can speak or not, like some of the ones they point out, which I'm not getting into, because to me, those ones I'll leave alone unless I learn more about the series and such, and I'm hovering to with some of those species. I'll give them that. But no, actually, it doesn't even matter on intelligence, it matters on sentience. Is it sentient enough to be able to act on its own? Is it sentient enough to do this? For example, the nanochips, I'm sorry to say, but they only reason is because of how it combined with Ben's DNA. Sorry to say, otherwise they really wouldn't be able to, because maybe the queen of them would, and because they are sentient enough in that case. Sorry to say, but the queen is sentient enough. And then just a regular nanochip, we've seen him do it, so apparently he can. And one problem with that is they're completely machine. Okay? Fine, Danny, but that leads into my next part, okay? I'll point out what they said, because despite them point blank saying no, in their additional Q&A, they point something out, and I'll point that out real quick. Okay, so let's get this straight. If Digimon can be debated, but you say there's a lot of strong evidence against it, why automatically go no? It's debatable. You should have given it a maybe like you did with some others. Okay, like Pokemon in that case. And I agree, certain Pokemon are debatable. The only Pokemon I find that aren't even sentient anymore, not even intelligent but sentient, are actually instead, well, Shadow Pokemon, because they've had their hearts closed off. They become nothing but fighting machines. The only thing they can do is fight and rage. There's no sentience in them. When they're purified, yeah, they have plenty of sentience then. But on to that, it's like, okay, Digimon, that's even maybe in the same line of a Shadow Pokemon and regular Pokemon, even purified Pokemon line of thinking. There are certain Digimon who, okay, are feral and stuff. Okay, if we look at Wildmon and such, wild can also be a synonym for feral. Mutt is a synonym for dog. He's a wild dog, a feral mutt, a wild mutt, or a feral dog. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say, "Oh, I'm right, you're wrong" on that. I'm just pointing out, yes, they're right on maybe, but they have why incorrect. Are they incorrect on the Pokemon? And for the maybe, the reasons why, yes. As for just automatically saying no rather than saying maybe, sorry to say, there's stuff from the actual Ben 10 canon and lore that point blanks prove, okay, eh, the sentient Digimon, like Digimon partners, or even digital life forms like Genai, are entirely sentient. I'm sorry to say, but it's the truth. And that evidence lies right in with galvanic mechamorphs. Now, give me a second, and I'll show this. But besides just galvanic mechamorphs, which I'll get to in a second, there's hers. They're right that you need a basic building block to be able to scan something for the DNA. Okay, that I'll get into in the last part. Be right. Oh boy, how do I start this? Okay, let's get right into it. The results are beyond anything I could have hoped for. Not only Galvin B was inhabitable, okay, it was able. Okay, Galvin B was inhabitable. I can't exactly remember. It means it's able to be habitated or not. But I'm going to guess it's inhabitable, so not habitable. Okay, can't have people living in it. But there was an unforeseen consequence. My experiment had inadvertently prompted the creation of a brand new techno-organic species, galvanic mechamorph. Okay, let's break that part down real quick. What does all that mean? Mm, Okay, well, if we look at galvanic, resulting to or involving electric currents produced by chemical action, sudden and dramatic, hurry with awkward galvanic strikes. Okay, so we're going with the first one for the adjective. Okay, cool and all. And if we even look at it, its origins come from galvanique and galvani, Well, Galvin and Luigi, I don't know where that is, but I'm guessing Galvin Ink. Okay, so let's go off that. Okay, so okay, we have that. Fine, Danny. But Mecha. Okay, if we get into that, Mecha. Okay, in anime manga, such a large armored robot to control by person running through the. Yeah, no, not in this case. We're going back a bit farther, not before 1980s because of the Japanese mecha, starting from mechanizum. Huh? Okay, but let's point this out. The Japanese comes from mecha, which is from two words of origin: mechanism and mechanikaru. Okay, mechanism and mechanical. Okay, so we then hit up. Let's see, which one do I want to go with first? How about mechanical? Okay, mechanical. Mechanical will actually mean working or produced by machines or machinery, relating to machines or machinery. Okay, of a person or action not having or showing thought or spontaneity. Automatic. Okay, relating to physical force or motion. Physical. Archaic. Of a theory explaining phenomena in terms of only physical process. Archaic. Relating to mechanics as a science. Okay, now the noun. Mechanical. Plural noun. Mechanicals. The working parts of a machine, especially a car. The archaic for two is especially with allusion to Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, a manual worker. Okay? A completed assembly of artwork and copy, typically mounted on a sheet of stiff paper. Okay, so let's just point that out. Okay, now the next one was mechanism, from what I'm recalling. So let's get into that one then. Mechanism meaning. Okay, a system of parts working together in a machine or a piece of machinery. A natural or established process by which something takes place or is brought about. The doctrine that all natural phenomena, including life and thought, allow mechanical explanation by physics and chemistry. Okay, so if we're going off galvanic, which, let's face it, Galvins really are working with a lot of machines, so they're going to work with a lot of different types of electric currents. Hence, okay, but that's where it gets even trickier if we're doing this, honestly. So we're saying that, oh no, Digimon, things made of data at this point. I'll even give morph. Okay? And the verb morph, change it smoothly from one image to another by small, gradual steps using computer animation technique. And undergo or cause to undergo a gradual process of transformation. As a noun, image that has been morphed by computer animation, an instance of morphing an image. But if we go farther than that, there's metamorphosis, and we're not even getting to just linguistics and biology, okay? And so much more. Especially the denoting something having a specified form or character and such. Okay, let's stick with basically what we know. It's basically something that allows you to change into something else, okay? Find it. But then, like Aslan said, techno organic. Okay, so techno organic, a style of fast, heavy electronic dance music, typically with piano vocals. Not what we're going for. So if we go into the second one, techno, a combining form relating to technology or its use. Okay, so let's look at techno as the abbreviation of technological. Technological is relating to or using technology, stuff like coding and data. Okay, then we get into organic, relating to or derived from living matter, relating to or denoting compounds containing. Okay, I'm not getting into all of that because that's chemistry of food or farming methods produced or involving production without use. Okay, but you get what I'm saying. These are relating to the physical part, the stuff of organic matter. Okay, if we look at that, fine, dandy. So galvanic metamorphs are like that. But therein lies the problem. They're basically living machines. AKA, if they're a machine, just like the Omnitrix is technology that, yeah, it transforms its user, but it's a machine downright. Yeah, it has advanced AI to know how to work. It can't scan itself because no organic component. And it's definitely, I don't even know if the Omnitrix could scan itself, but let's not even get into the whole part of, okay, scan units, all that. No, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole unless I have to. But okay, let's look at the weaknesses. Two in particular stand out. Galvanic megamorphs are sensitive to electromagnetic pulses slash fields and magnetic fields. Okay? Being swarms of nanomachines, galvanic megamorphs are weak against electricity, such as that generated by noserians and conductoids, the latter of which have been demonstrated with malware. And they find Danny. One problem with that. If you look at code, data, anything electronical that runs off data coding, all that, sorry to say, that electromagnetic pulse field and the magnetic fields, that also does that to any machine. Take a laptop or whatever you're watching this on. It would basically kill it. That's why a solar flare is so dangerous. Heck, a race like this is just going to sink from one solar flare or hitting them because that's a huge electromagnetic pulse hitting them. It would basically wipe out whole species to the point the only ones left are, well, the ones in the Omnitrix. I see. And electricity, too much electricity will fry anything working on code. Okay, now that I've mentioned coding so much, let me point this out. Sorry to say, everyone, but I'll be right back. So let's get down right to it. The whole basics of why, even just this, will throw out any possibility to argue that it's debatable. Okay, one, Sonic Tricks is basically technology, a machine, something that will run on code at this point. Not all technology runs on code, depending on how you look at it. Say, stuff like shovels at the time. They were a new technological advancement after a point. Anything that's made in the point of advancing stuff eventually is considered a type of technology. And you get down to it. So that's where things will be confusing. But let's go off the whole oh technology as electronics and machines part. Okay, it's highly advanced. Okay, fine, dandy. Are you saying it's only can't run on code? Sorry to say, I doubt that because it would need some way to have these specific rules. And in order for that, it would need a type of coding, meaning it would need to know what it can and can't do. The whole premise of coding, knowing what you're allowed to do, what you're not. Heck, stuff for it to glitch out sometimes, fine dandy. But if you really want to even destroy the object, give it a paradox in and of itself, something it can never solve. And sorry to say, with how advanced it is, that's quite hard to do in of itself. Because, yeah, okay, one thing with the ink tank doing, they kind of just did what they said Deathbow did with, okay, Ben can't be killed because Iron Tricks. Well, one, technically, you make the Iron Tricks sort itself out to the point it's a dud, it actually could. All you have to do is find a way to make it where, okay, if it can survive Solar Flare, fine, Dan, it can survive that. Advanced enough, I'll give it that, probably. But, honestly, there's one problem. Just like with the self-destruct system on the original one, it could very well be a possibility of if you just short circuit that thing, it could explode, and not just like what people might think. I mean like in a loop. Basically, with coding, there are certain paradoxes, or technically, I'm trying to remember the right wording. Exceptions. Most people use an exception for it's the way they're with an exception in coding, meaning even the Omnitrix. Say you give the Omnitrix where it has to basically choose. I don't mean like say the three benefits. I mean where basically Ben is trying to become two aliens at once. Say the fusions. Okay, one, yeah, I didn't destroy it, but there was one episode where it showed that he becomes two episode aliens at once. Okay, when all fusing him to be. One problem is he removes something that has a lot of that coding. Okay, so say he tries to do that with the faceplate on. He creates an exception, something that could honestly kill Andres. Remove that limiter, that piece of the code that prevents him from becoming them. It's fine, dandy to do it. It actually allows more options. But put that safety limiter back on. That basically, to say the least, he's, well, safe to regard a line of code, it limits it again. It adds another rule. But where does that come into things? Well, one, they're right. Ben, on normal circumstances, at his peak, like Deathbow does, at his strongest time, cannot be killed. That includes the Iron Tricks, unless they want to find a way to basically make it right into, well, an exception. Then, yes, it would basically be a dud. Ben can no longer transform. He's human. He's dead. But that I'm not really getting into. One, they're right. He, he, the Death Battle, basically Rooster Teeth, Death Battle team, whatever, need to do more research. But they fell into that same line by saying no automatically on Digimon just because there's strong evidence. Okay? One problem is, are you looking at just the fandom? As in the shows itself? Because I'm sorry to say, that's not all you can do with this, honestly. When you go into inspiration, everything like that, Digimon are lines of code. They're data. They're something so much more. Hello, if you look at a power button, the whole circle with a line down, that's on and off. That's binary. The ones and zeros. Okay? So, getting into that even more, it's just, oh my lord. Okay, the source code. Something, it's actually not a joke. When you look at DNA, it's the building blocks of everything. Well, a source code is a really major building block for a lot of things to do with technology. But getting to that, there's one hint, basically website I'll be using called bur burthub.eu slash articles slash post slash amazing gaming and then another slash. Okay, that's the website I'm using and the biggest one. Okay, so let's look at this. With coding in DNA, honestly, it's almost identical depending on how you look at it. Not in the sense of, oh, we're machines and stuff, but honestly, computers and a lot of machines, like, that run with coding, we're giving a lot of the same ways to react like a human does. That's kind of the whole point of why we call a illness a virus for a computer. Reason we have viruses in our body, but a virus for a computer reacts the same way. It can kill it. It can do a lot of damage, just like any virus in our system can. Okay, so getting down to that is like, okay, hey, there's more to it. Okay, so this website will actually say that the human genome is about 3 gigabases long, okay, which boils down to 750 megabytes, okay. If you go into that, that technically is only 3.6, but it used to technically be 2.8. For, say, Firefox, but for Mozilla browsers, okay. But there's more to it. DNA is not like a C source, so I'm not getting into that, but more like byte compiled code. So let's get into that. Bytes. Those are just ones and zeros, data bytes. Okay? Bytes aren't exactly the same as binary, but it's close enough because binary will become those bytes and become that coding. For a virtual machine called the nucleus, aka what our DNA needs, it has a nucleus. It is very doubtful that there is a source to this byte compilation. What you see is all you get. Same dang thing with DNA. A building block, all you see is what you get. Unless you engineer that DNA, which you would have to engineer each and every part, just like with coding. Okay, but let's get further into it. They even say the language of DNA is digital, but not binary. Okay, so where is that coming from? Well, when binary encoding happens, it has only a 0 and a 1 to work with, aka 2. 0 and 1 being two numbers, hence binary. DNA has 4 positions T, C, G, and A. Okay, well, let's get into that. Whereas a digital byte is mostly 8 binary digits, a DNA byte called a codon has 3 digits. Okay, below they have the codon string. Okay, but going further than that, because each data can have 4 values instead of 2, a DNA codon has 64 possible values to find DNA, compared to a binary byte which has 256. And find DNA. A typical example of a DNA codon is GCC, which encodes amino acid alanine. Don't know what that is, not getting into that. A larger number of these amino acids combined are called polypeptide or protein, and these are chemically active in making a living being. That's basically it. That's where a lot of the DNA comes from. But what the heck does that have to do with coding? Well, when you look at it, something has to make up the code that's binary, which then becomes bytes, which can go bigger and bigger. Just like DNA coding makes up certain parts of you. It's the smallest part. DNA itself is the smallest part of a human. And if you don't go into the whole each cell thing, but each cell even contains the DNA. So the DNA is small, it's basic building block. Just like binary and bytes are. So really, where's that kind of film? They can't. Okay? But going farther into that, what I'm just saying at this point is because I don't want to be too repetitive, because it gets into way too much if we look at it, okay? But even stuff like, say, hey, viruses, the Trojan horse, basically just like the real world's Trojan horse. Heck, even a virus can. compromising your immune system is just like a Trojan horse. All you need is a common cold, which in a sense is a Trojan horse for a computer to make you ill enough to get worse from bigger or worse viruses like a malware or even a worm, which worms exist, honestly. You can get rid of it on a computer only so long. And even if you get rid of it, it's done damage. Serve like the worms, like heartworms and such, will stay in a body. Sorry to say. No matter how you look at it, DNA and coding, same thing. And concerning bonding tricks, basically is a machine that has to use some form of coding. Sorry to say, if it can't just scan and be able to replicate a living being, even if they're still made of code, from a Digimon, being able to scan that, how's it able to run itself? How's it able to be a smart AI? I'm sorry to say, but nope. In fact, it would probably have the easiest time doing a Digimon versus say something like Alien X, a human, Wildmon, Ectonort. Any of them will be multitudes times more difficult, despite the amount of numbers. As for the combinations and such, it would actually be a multitude times easier for Digimon because Digimon have these lines of code that they're made of, all this binary data and bytes that they're made of. And what happens here? We're just told no, it's available. No, honestly, if a launch just run on code and data, why couldn't it scan a line of coding? Like, DNA is just a line of code for a living organism. So a digital being, couldn't just have its coding, its basic coding, be able to be scanned and copied by something that runs on code and even stores stuff like DNA into a whole far area. I'm sorry to say, I can't even get in touch with that DNA just from how far it is. I'm sorry to say, but that's where things have gotten to the point of like, I'm sorry to say, InkTank, you're wrong. You were right. It's debatable if you're going off in the same sense of Pokemon. There's no real strong evidence saying that Digimon in and of itself can't is an automatic. No, even debatable. Sorry to say, I have a hard time believing that unless you're talking about like Pokemon in the sense of sentience and such. Which, sorry to say, hey, sentience does not mean intelligence. Look at Wildmon, as I said, or other such aliens that wouldn't even have this intelligence to do something on their own. Hmm, okay, fine, Danny. But then there's, like I said, the whole, to put it easily enough, the whole part of basically sentience. A lot of Digimon are sentient. Some don't have that sentience. I'll give you that. But a lot do, especially the partner Digimon. So I'm sorry, but I have to honestly disagree and actually point out what all you got wrong here. I don't want to make a huge war between channels. No, That's not my intention. That's not how I want to get big. I want to make people enjoy this, but honestly, something that's bugged me, and it's like, that's spreading more along lines of misinformation then. Saying, oh, no, because not everyone will look at the description, not everyone will look at the comments. I'm sorry to say. For me, it's a case scenario of why would it not be able to do it? Why is there even any strong evidence against it when you look at how coding works and how DNA works? Heck, even how the Onyx has scanned things before that are more machine, like clockwork or even a galvanic mechamorph. I'm sorry to say, it's one of those cases of there's too much planning otherwise to even say it's not possible at all. It's even debatable at times. There's too much to go against it. Certain groups I'll give them, like say Kuwagamon from the first episode of Digimon Adventure 01. I'll give you that one. It definitely probably doesn't have enough sentience based on how it acts. There's so many other Digimon that I can do that. And if you're going off okay, each basically each gem from Steven Universe can be scanned. Well, if you looked into more of that series, sorry to say, they're not even organic beings at all. No matter what, their bodies are hardly construct. Okay, fine, yeah, you'll give them that. But their gems, believe it or not, there's actually been some say of that they're more like high tech computers instead of say organic being. So if it can scan a high tech computer, say a gem that has enough sentience, and basically point out that so it's able to be used as an Onyx transformation, I'm sorry to say, so can Digimon, because they're basically just like a gem in that case on what their DNA is, what their coding is. High tech enough where they're a living being. Sorry to say, but in this case, you're wrong. Anyway, I'll end this video here. I hope everyone had a good time. See you guys later.